All right, guys, so what we're going to do today is take our pendant that we've made from last time, and we're going to add some line designs and details on either if you're making a bird or whatever you're going to make. You're going to add some details around it, starting with a pencil. You probably want to sketch out and maybe practice some ideas before you start working on the final version. And I'm going to show you guys how you can do that in a few steps here. So before we get going on the details, I want you guys to take a look at several different types of lines. Here's several different line directions and thicknesses of line. Feel free to pause it on here to kind of get an idea of maybe what kind of details you might like to add to your design when you guys start drawing on top of it here in the next minute. So next, what I would like you guys to do is go ahead and trace your image of what you've created so you can kind of have two versions of it. And then I want you guys to practice drawing different types of lines, patterns, and details on those to kind of just give you a sketch so you can kind of create an idea of what you want to draw on your final artwork. So think about different types of lines, different angles of lines, directions of lines, anything like that, and then try to create two different versions. All right, so now that you've created a few examples, what I want you guys to do is kind of pick one that you like and try to draw it on our artwork. You could also kind of say, well, I like aspects of this one, I want to add this and take away that. That's fine too if you guys want to do that for your final artwork. It could be kind of a mixture of both. But I do want you to kind of practice a little bit to kind of create an idea before we work on the final part. Also, there always has to be a hole, an area where no design is really going to be, because that's how we're going to connect the necklace. All right, so for this part, you see me drawing my designs on top of my final artwork. I'm kind of doing a hybrid of both of these different designs. We're using the pencil. You don't see the lines show up that well, but they will here in just a minute. We just want to make the impression from the pencil. All right, so once you get your designs drawn in your artwork, you should be able to see them a little bit here. They don't really show up great because it's with the pencil. We're going to make these stand out a little bit better, and we're going to add kind of like an antiquing or a capatina almost to our artwork. So we're going to use a little bit of paint, a paintbrush, and then we're going to wipe it all off actually. If you don't have paint or a paintbrush, it's really okay. Just try to find a skinny marker, a Sharpie would work the best, skinny Sharpie, and just maybe trace over those lines. So don't worry about it if you don't have paint. You can also do this by using a Sharpie, tracing in and filling all those lines so they stand out even better. All right. If you do have paint though, you can do this technique. We're going to basically get paint on our brush and paint over the entire artwork. All right, so when you are all done painting, you want to give your artwork like probably 2 to 3 minutes to dry just a little bit before we start the next step. So we're going to move our paint off to the side and our paintbrush. You do notice that I painted on top of another napkin or paper towel to kind of help keep from getting paint on my table. The next thing you want to do is grab another paper towel or napkin, kind of bunch it up a little bit so it looks roughish, kind of like this. That will work. And then we're going to wipe this off. But I don't want to wipe so hard that I wipe it all off. So I'm just going to kind of lightly kind of test it out a little bit to see if it's ready to start wiping. And I think it is. If it's kind of sticky feeling, that's good. That's a good sign for yours. If it's still kind of smooth and runny and it wants to kind of all come off when you start wiping, then you need to wait a little bit longer and let it dry just a little bit. Don't wait too long because then it will dry completely. This technique is not to remove all the paint. This is kind of removing some of our paint. What you see is some of the cracks that I drew, they start to show up a little bit deeper. I'm going to get a clean brush or clean paper towel, and I'm going to just wipe a little bit more. It's okay if you have some on here still like on the top. That actually kind of gives it that patina look or that older weathered look. All right, so I'm just going to do a little wiping. Don't wipe too much. If you wipe too much, you're going to wipe it all away. If you do wipe it all away, the good news is you can just add more paint on again and repeat this process. So if you wipe it all away, it's all right. You can repeat this. All right, so there we go. I think that's looking pretty good for mine. I'm going to lift it up carefully. I still want to give it more time to dry. I think mine's looking pretty good there. I have a little bit of texture of the black on top. The black is filled into my lines and it's looking good. All right. Also, created a cool little design there. So I'll show you the next step here in just a moment. So before we go ahead and finish up, I wanted to give you guys another version and show you how you can draw your line details on using a skinny Sharpie. Really, you just come over the top of your pencil lines and just draw with your Sharpie instead of painting and wiping. This technique lets the lines stand out better and just kind of gives you a different variation. Okay, so here you see my two examples, one that I did with a Sharpie, the other that I did with the black paint and wiping technique. Either way you do it is really fine. Whatever you guys have will work for this step. I also punched a hole up at the top here. That's something you might need help with an adult to do. Please don't try to do that on your own. You might mess it up or hurt yourself. So let an adult help you punch the hole. Once you get that, you want to add some string. This one I've already added on here. So I want you to get a piece of string. I want you to double it up like this. Put the two ends together. Kind of wrap it around your finger like this. Make a little loop. Bring those at the ends through the loop. Tighten it. All right, now you have it knotted up. Now we have to connect this to our artwork. So I'm going to pick up my artwork. I'm going to feed the one end through, and it kind of creates like a little bit of a loop. See that? What you want to do is take this end, put it through the loop, and then it will tighten on itself. All right, and now you have a necklace, or two necklaces if you made two. All right, guys, can't wait to see what everyone's working on. Good luck.